Hey friends, Christian here, and today we're going to talk about how to encounter Christ. When we talked about St. Paul's encounter with Christ last week, you may have even felt a little like I do whenever I hear his story. That's great for Paul, but I've never been knocked off my feet by a bright light. Lucky Paul. Gotta be blinded by Jesus. Very few of us have had these literal come-to-Jesus moments, but perhaps we just don't have the eyes to see Christ in our lives. If we did have illumined eyes, maybe we too could see the reality of a heavenly king who is everywhere present and filling all things. In order to explore how to lead young people to encounter Christ, we're going to spend a little time with my friend, St. Porphyrios. In Wounded by Love, he tells a story about when he was walking through the woods and he heard a nightingale singing its song with gusto. It was so beautiful it moved him to tears. For St. Porphyrios, this was about more than birdsong. Addressing the bird, he said, "How much you tell me and how much you teach me, little nightingale. With your warbling, dear nightingale, you show me how to hymn God. You teach me 1,000 things, beyond number." He goes on to say, "I regarded all of them as angels of God, little birds that glorified God, the creator of all." For St. Porphyrios, this wasn't just about hearing birds singing in the woods. It was an encounter with God, an experience of the kingdom. This powerful moment led St. Porphyrios to call nature the secret gospel, and perhaps even more profoundly to say this: all things teach us and lead us to God. All things around us are droplets of the love of God. Both things animate and inanimate, the plants and the animals, the birds and the mountains, the sea and the sunset and the starry sky. They are little loves through which we attain to the great love that is Christ. They speak to us of the love of God. In other words, if we have the eyes to see, everything can become an encounter with Christ, whether it's a bird's song or a gentle breeze or a crying child who wakes us up in the middle of the night because of a bloody nose. These are moments where Christ can meet us through and in the real moments of our real lives. The world is not simply a stage upon which God acts through occasional miracles, even though those are super cool. Creation is more like a porous sponge that is filled with Christ because it is submerged within the boundless ocean of God's love. The journey for the Christian, then, is to become aware, to have eyes that see the cosmic Christ who is filling all things. To quote Father Alexander Schmemann, "A Christian is one who, wherever he looks, finds Christ and rejoices in him." So how does this impact the way we do ministry? Good question. St. Porphyrios encourages us this way: make the most of beautiful moments. All things are holy. The sea, swimming, and eating. Take delight in them all. All things enrich us. All lead us to the great love. All lead us to Christ. Instead of merely telling youth and young adults that God is omnipresent, what if we explored with them how God fills all things in this Christ-drenched universe? The next time you're with your youth or young adult group, try this. Send them outside to find a random object and don't tell them why. But don't worry, I'm going to tell you why. When they return, invite each person to share their object and to ponder how it reveals something about God. If it's a rock, perhaps they'll find themselves contemplating God's stability, God's firm foundation of love. If it's a leaf, perhaps they ponder the God who brings forth new life. What will emerge by the end of this is a beautiful mosaic of this God we seek to know. This is the promise that we have been given by praying to a God who fills all things. We can find him if we go looking for him. But of course, this isn't the only way to encounter Christ. Finding him in nature is just one among many. In fact, we haven't even begun to touch on one of the most important ways that we encounter Christ: through one another, which is precisely what we're going to talk about next week as we explore our second E, how to embody Christ's church. In the meantime, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Orthodox Youth Ministries. Head over to our website, orthodoxyouthministries.org, and join our mailing list and even get a free PDF on relational ministry. And, as always, do the YouTube things. Like this video, share it, and subscribe to this channel so that you can receive more content on how to share God's love with young people. That's all I got. Until next week, we at OYM wish you all peace and sincerely pray that something good happens for you today.